What's up YouTube, PokeJC here and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to do a tier list for all of the Pokemon Scarlet Violet era sets for the TCG. So let's go ahead and take a look at the categories that I'm going to use to grade them. Alright, so if we take a look at the sheet, I already have the table ready for me to just start grading, but I'm going to go ahead and explain my categories. So for pull rates, these are just going to be numbers that I pull from TCG Player. TCG Player publishes an article based off of how many packs you should expect to have to rip in order to pull a secret rare. Secret rares include illustration rares, ultra rares, hyper rares, and special illustration rares. Next up is the value of the set. This is going to just be the cost in order to buy every single card in the set based off of the market price. I pulled these numbers from the collector app. After that, I've got a chase card category, and notice that I did put the S in parentheses because some sets have more than one chase card. So I'm going to evaluate this based off of how many chase cards there are and how good the chase card or cards are. So next up is the bench quality. And basically I'm going to say that the bench is every other card in the set that is not the chase. That's going to include the illustration rares, the hyper rares, and the ultra rares. Then I've got this personal feeling category. This is going to be purely subjective. How much do I like the set? Do I like the artwork? Do I like the Pokemon? Is there some sort of nostalgic feeling that I get from the set? Again, purely just subjective. So this last category, investment potential, is just going to be based off of my personal opinion. How well do I think that the cards in the set are going to gain value? So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into Scarlet Violet. So if we take a look at the pull rates for Scarlet Violet, the secret rare hit rate is 18%. And the special illustration rare pull rate is 1 out of 32, so actually very generous. In fact, maybe a little too generous. So let's go ahead and assign my grade for the pull rates. Scarlet Violet, I'm going to go ahead and just say it's a 5. 1 in 32 means basically if you bought a booster box, you would expect to get a special illustration rare in that box. So pretty good, I would say. So next up is the value of the set. So the value for the set is only $494, and it's basically going to be one of the lowest valued sets. So I don't think, I can't give this a straight up one because it's not the worst, but it's down there. So I'm going to go ahead and just tentatively give this a 2. Next up is chase cards. Scarlet Violet base set actually has a lot of good chase cards. So let's go ahead and start looking at the special illustration rares for the set. Hydreigon is a very good card. I actually like it a lot. As far as the other cards, nothing really stands out, I guess, except for this Miriam. I think the Miriam is also a very good card. So for the chases, I'm going to say that the Scarlet Violet base set, there's only really 2 that I would really want, and that's the Miraidon and the Charizard. So I will give it a 2. Bench quality. So aside from the special illustration rares, I think there's a good number of illustration rares in this set. So as far as bench quality, I'm gonna say, I'll give it a 3. And then personal feeling towards the set, I feel like it's a pretty good starting point. I'm gonna give it a 3 also. But as far as investment potential, I don't think this set is going to be very strong. So the pull rates are too good, and I don't think people are really going to be wanting to collect any of the cards from this set in the future or, go crazy for them. So let's go ahead and add one more column for a total. Alright, so that gives Scarlet Violet base set a 16. So tentatively, according to my grading scale, that gives it a B. Alright, so I think that's fair. Scarlet Violet is a B right in the middle. Alright, next up, we're going to look at Paldea Evolved. Paldea Evolved pull rates, they're actually the same exact thing as Scarlet Violet base, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a 5. Value-wise, it is much more. It is worth much more than Scarlet Violet base, basically double. So let's put this at a 3. And actually, I think I'm going to knock Scarlet Violet base down to a 1. So that drops its grade down to a 15, but stays as a B. It's fine. It's like at the bottom level of B. Alright, chase cards. Let me give a little asterisk to this set. For Paldea Evolved, the chase is not even one of these special illustration rares. The chase is actually the Magikarp. Everyone wants this thing. I want this thing. It's a beautiful card. It should have been a special illustration rare. So I will give this... So for the chase cards, based off of just the Magikarp alone, with the other special illustration rares just not being all that great, I'm going to give the chase card value for this set a 3. The bench quality, I'll come up a little bit because I do think that there are nice illustration rares in this set. Excluding that Magikarp, you still have the cute Fuecoco, the Crocolore, the Fletchinder. There's a lot of really nice illustration rares in this set, so plenty of good cards in this set to pull. So yes, I think that this bench quality will be a little bit better than Scarlet Violet base. Personal feeling toward the set, I don't really want anything other than the Magikarp from this set, so I'm going to give this a 2. Because other than that Magikarp, like I said, there's not really anything that I would want from the set. Investment potential, I'm going to give this a 3. Again, basically just based off of that Magikarp. The Magikarp is doing all of the heavy lifting here. So that's going to give this a total of 20, which puts it at an A. Okay, so Paldea Evolved is an A. Alright, so next up we've got Obsidian Flames. Now, Obsidian Flames, pull rates for Obsidian Flames are exactly the same as the others as well, so I'm going to give it a 5 to match the others. Value-wise, Obsidian Flames is actually the worst set, so this is going to get a 1. It is the cheapest set to have to buy all the cards to master. Chase cards? Really, I can only see one chase. The trainers, the special illustration rare trainers are not that great. The other ones are kind of whatever. It's really just all on this Charizard. So, chase grade, I'm gonna give this a 2 because I do like the Charizard on its own. It's just by itself in this set though. Bench quality, there are good illustration rares in this set, but there's just not that many illustration rares in this set. So the bench quality, I'm gonna have to actually just probably give this a 2. There's a lot more cards in the Scarlet Violet base set that kind of ease that feeling of not pulling a special illustration rare. My personal feeling towards this set, I think it's not the worst set, even though it's not valued that way. I'm gonna give it a 2. Investment potential, I'm gonna give it a 2, again based on the chase being that Charizard and Charizard just being a very popular Pokemon. But other than that, it still doesn't really have much going for it. So with a 14, that puts it at a C. So next up, we've got my favorite set, Pokemon 151. So let's take a look at the pull rates. Pull rates are basically the same as well. In fact, just slightly higher than the others. At 19%, everything else had 18% for their secret rare hit rate. So pull rates on 151 will be a 5. Value-wise, it is similar to Paldea Evolved, so I'm going to give it a 3. Because its value is about just a little over $1,000. Okay, chase cards. Looking at all of the special illustration rares for 151, Venusaur is a good card. Charizard, a lot of people love the Charizard. I kind of think it's overrated, but I do recognize it's a very popular card and it's the most expensive card in the set. Blastoise, one of my favorites actually. I really like this Blastoise artwork a lot. The Alakazam's okay. I mean, it's on the good side. It's fine. The Zapdos I think is a really good card as well. So that's it for the Pokemon, and then it also has Erica's Invitation, which I think is a very pretty trainer card, and the Giovanni's Charisma's fine. So based on the number of chases plus the quality of the chases, I think this is gonna deserve a 3, because I wouldn't, even though I really do like a lot of the cards, even though I really do like a lot of those special illustration rares, no, I'm gonna say 4. I'm gonna bump it to a 4. Alright, bench quality. There are a good number of illustration rares, and honestly, they're all pretty good. Not many of them are actually not many of these illustration rares are actually bad. I really like the Bulbasaur Ivysaur line. Honestly, all of these pre-evolutions for the main 3 are good. So Charmander, Charmeleon, Squirtle, Wartortle, all really good cards. Caterpie is cute. The Pikachu is great. Nidoking, I guess, is just it's a good card. It's just whatever though. Psyduck is really good. The Poliwhirl is really good. So yeah, plenty of good illustration rares in this set. So I'm gonna give the bench quality a 5 for 151. Personal feeling towards this set, I'm biased, but I don't care. It's gonna get a 5 from me. And then investment potential, not amazing, but I will still say it's a 3 because it has a Charizard that a lot of people like, and it's only come down in price because of all the reprints and the reappearance of a lot of the product in the stores. But I still think that there's a lot of potential for that Charizard especially to gain value. Alright, next up, Paradox Rift. So if we take a look at the Paradox Rift pull rates, this is where we see a little bit of a jump from how hard it is to pull a special illustration rare. Secret rare hit rate is not changed all that much, and they basically keep the secret rare hit rate somewhere around this level for all the Scarlet Violet era. But because it is slightly harder to pull a special illustration rare for the set, I'm going to give this a 4. Value-wise, the set is only valued at 795, so it's not really in the middle. I would say that this is probably going to give it a 2. Alright, if we take a look at the special illustration rares for this set, I don't think anything stands out here as amazing. I do think there are good ones, but none of these special illustration rares really stands out as iconic to the Scarlet Violet era for me. And I do think that this one is actually pretty bad. I don't really like the Sandy Shocks, nor do I like the Tapu Koko. So based on that, I'm going to give the chase cards a 2 for Paradox Rift. Bench quality. Okay, so if we take a look at the illustration rares, there's a really good number of illustration rares in this set. And there's also a lot of really good artwork for the illustration rares. So yeah, if we take a look at all of these, there's pretty good ones. There's some pretty good ones, especially this Groudon. I would actually consider the Groudon to be part of the chases, because those special illustration rares, most of them aren't really all that great. So for the bench quality, I'm going to give this a 4. So there are a lot of illustration rares, maybe a little too many, but there are a lot of good ones. Personal feelings towards this set, I think it's kind of just a 2. It's not really a set that I would be buying a lot of packs to rip, because there's not really any card that I would want to pull, or not too many cards. I really just want the Groudon. So investment potential, I'll just say a 2. Yeah, I'll just keep it with a 2 for now. Might change that later. Okay, next up, Paldean Fates. Pull rates for Paldean Fates. They have a secret rare hit rate of 44%, so this is a first giant spike for the secret rare hit rate. But that's basically because they add the shiny ultra rares and the shiny rares to their hit rates. For special illustration rares, we see another jump from that 1 in 40 something from Paradox Rift to 1 in 58 now. So it's starting to get a little tougher to pull something good. So I'm going to say that this is a 3. Oh, duh, I forgot to update the actual tier list. So let's go back. 151, 25, that puts it at S tier. Little biased, but I don't care. Yes, I believe it is S tier. Paradox Rift, 16 gives it a B, which I believe puts it above Scarlet Violet base, just by 1, so it goes right here. Oh, right here in B. Yeah, okay. And then next, Paldean Fates. So pull rates, It's starting to get tougher to pull those special illustration rares. I do have to dock it a point for that. It is very generous with its shinies though. So you know what? I'm gonna bump it up to a 4. Okay, value for this set. This is well over $1,000 in its value. It's not super high, but it is good enough, I would say, to put this at 3. It's still in that like $1,000 range, so I think that's a pretty good grade for it. Chase cards. All right, so if we take a look at the special illustration rares for Paldean Fates, there's not that many cards. There's only 3. So I may dock it 1 point for that, but all 3 of these are very good, with the Mew especially being a very iconic card for the Scarlet Violet era. This thing is going nuts. I do believe that this card is going to be very expensive in the future. So for the chases for this set, I'm going to give it a 4. Just because Pokemon-wise, there's not that many. There's only 3. So I'll dock it for that. But that Bubble Mew is doing all of the heavy lifting there. Okay, bench quality. So based off of the number of other cards you could pull. So illustration rare, let me point this out for the illustration rares. There's only 3 of these 2, and pulling a ton of these Wug Trios personally, it actually feels infuriating to see this thing. It's kind of cool that all of these are the shiny version of the Pokemon. You get the shiny Palmy, the Palafin, and the Wug Trio, but the variety is not there for the illustration rares. However, there are plenty of shinies. So you got the shiny ultra rares and you got the shiny rares. I still think I have to dock it a point though for the bench quality, because again, only 3 illustration rares and they're not especially good. I don't really like any of them. Okay, personal feeling to the set. I actually like ripping Paldean Fates. Aside from always seeing those stupid illustration rares, I still like ripping the packs for this set. Investment potential, 4. That Bubble Mew, I think, can go nuts. So with a score of 23, that puts Paldean Fates at the very top of A tier. Okay, so Temporal Fates is next. Temporal Fates, the pull rates, we're starting to get worse. There are worse sets, but this is pretty bad. The secret rare hit rate is 20%, but they're including the A specs, which I don't agree with, but fine, I'll include it as well. So for the pull rates, I'm going to put this as a 3 because it's getting much harder to pull those special illustration rares. Value for this set is only $720. So that means I'm going to give it a 2. It's under that $1,000 mark. Chase cards for Temporal Forces. The Paradox Pokemon here, the Iron Leaves, Gouging Fire, Walking Wake, Iron Crown, Iron Boulder, and Raging Bolt. Of all of those Paradox Pokemon, I really only like the Gouging Fire and the Raging Bolt. The artwork is good. I think the Pokemon looks a little goofy, but the artwork is very good in the card. Yeah, so for chases, I'm going to give this set a 2. Bench quality. Okay, a good number of illustration rares, and a lot that I would consider to be pretty good. So for the bench quality, let's go ahead and say that this is a 3. I think it's on par with my Scarlet Violet base set. Okay, personal feeling for this set, it's just a 2. Not especially good. I don't think I would really even try to rip packs and try to pull anything from the set. Investment potential. Okay, so the pull rates are really bad and not really anything super desirable. I'm going to give this a 1. So that gives this a score of 13, which puts this at a C. So is it above Obsidian Flames? Obsidian Flames has a 14. Yeah, so I do think it is worse than Obsidian Flames. I agree with that. Basically, Obsidian Flames is getting carried by its good pull rates. But that's it. Alright, so the pull rates for Twilight Masquerade, it's basically the same for the special illustration rares and same for the secret rares. So this is going to stay as a 3. Okay, value for the set, $963. I guess if I rounded it would be around $1,000, so I'm just gonna give it a 3 because that Greninja is doing a lot of work for that value. So if we look at the special illustration rares for this set, I think that the Pokemon special illustration rares are actually really weak aside from the Greninja. For the special illustration rare trainers, the Carmine is nice, and the Perrin is also pretty good too, but I wouldn't really call them like super desirable chases. But the Greninja is an iconic card for the Scarlet Violet era as well. People think about terrestrialized Pokemon and popular ones, Greninja is going to be one of them. So for the chases, I'm going to say it's a 3 because of the Greninja and the Perrin and Carmine. But the other ones are bad. Like, I don't like any of the Ogerpon ones. They're pretty bad. So aside from those, it's got a good number of illustration rares. For the bench quality, I'm going to give it a 3. Because there are some that are bad. Alright, personal feeling towards the set. It's going to be a 3 for me. And then investment potential, because of the Greninja, and only because of the Greninja, I'll give it a 3. So that gives it a total score of 18, which puts it at a B. 18 puts it above Paradox Rift. Alright, Shrouded Fable. Pull rates for Shrouded Fable. Alright, the pull rates for Shrouded Fable. The secret rare hit rate is 21%, so it's a little bit better than, just a little bit better than the other ones. Special illustration rare hit rate is 1 in 67, so it's better than the previous couple that came before it, but it's not stupendous. So I guess that kind of puts it on the same level as Paradox Rift and Paldean Fates. So for pull rates, I'll give it a 4. But value, about 610, we'll give it a 2. And then chase cards, okay, this is where Shrouded Fable is going to suffer. There's only 5, and 4 of them are Pokemon. So the Okidogi, I think, is not a good card. Monkey Dory, not a good card. Pheasantipity is okay. Pecharunt is okay. The Cassiopeia, not bad. It's just whatever, I think. So as far as chases, I think that this set gets a 1. There's literally nothing in this set that I would want to rip packs for. Bench quality. Look at the illustration rares for this set. I think there's actually some pretty good ones illustration rare wise. I like the Houndoom. The Horsey is cute. Yeah, so overall I'd give this a 3 for the bench. There's some good ones. There's also some whatever ones. It's fine for the bench. Personal feelings towards the set, it's a 1. I don't care for the set at all. And then investment potential, I also think is a 1. So that gives this a grand total of a 12, which puts this in the D tier. No surprise. I think that Shrouded Fable probably is D tier for a lot of people. Okay, next up is Stellar Crown. Pull rates. It gets pretty bad. This is probably the second worst pull rate in all of Scarlet Violet. 1 out of 90 is pretty rough. I'm gonna give this a 1. I mean, the secret hit rate is 20%, but again, a lot of sets, since they added these ace specs, they're counting that as a hit. I don't really agree. Alright, value. Only $389. That's a 1. Not even over 500. Chase cards. The chases in this set are not the special illustration rares. You have the Bulbasaur illustration rare and the Squirtle illustration rare. So I will still dock points for the chases being illustration rares, just like I did for Paldea Evolved. But I really do like those 2 cards. So I guess I can come up to a 3. Because I would rip Stellar Crown to try to pull those 2 cards. Bench quality. So aside from the chases, so if I exclude those 2, do I like other cards in this set? I like the Joltik. The Zeraora is good. The Archelodon is good too. Yeah, so it's not super deep though. There's 13 illustration rares. Ultra rares are just kind of whatever. The full arts are good. I mean, they're good. They're good. So I guess I will give this a 3. Personal feeling toward the set, 2. Again, carried by the Squirtle and the Bulbasaur. Investment potential, just a 2. Okay, so that actually gives it the same grade as Shrouded Fable. I'm still gonna put it in front of Shrouded Fable though, just because, again, there are actually cards that I like from that set and I would rip that set. Okay. Surging Sparks. Pull rates. Pretty rough. 1 out of 87. Almost the same as Stellar Crown. Same special or secret rare hit rate. So this is gonna get a 2. Pretty harsh pull rates. Value though. It is over $1,000, so I will give this a 3. Chase cards. So looking at the special illustration rares, there is an iconic card for all of Scarlet Violet era. That is the Pikachu. Aside from that, there are other good special illustration rares. I like the Melodic, the Latias, the Alolan Executor. For the trainers, they're okay. The Lycia's Appeal, I guess, is probably the best of those. So, yeah, I'll give it a 4. Because it does have other good special illustration rares aside from the Pikachu. But it's not what I would consider to be loaded. Okay, bench quality. Look at the other cards you can pull here. Illustration rare, there is a good number of them. And a lot of them are very good. So I'm going to give this a 4 for its bench. Okay, personal feeling towards the set. The pull rates were harsh. I didn't pull anything really good from this set, but there are still good cards in the set. So I will give it a 3. Personally, it just kind of stung to not pull anything good. Investment potential, people I think have kind of forgotten about that Pikachu, so I think that that one could actually gain some value. Next set, Prismatic Evolutions. So the pull rates for this set are actually fairly reasonable. It didn't feel that way, at least personally for me. I didn't pull any special illustration rares, but according to TCG Player, the rates are 1 out of every 45 packs. So that's almost as good as the first like 4 sets, all the way up through 151. So I will give this a 4 for its pull rates. Value. This is automatically going to be a 5. If you look at the value for this set, 4,592. It is by far the most expensive set. And it is basically because of the chase cards. I'm going to go ahead and put a 5 here. This set is nothing but chases. It's got 24, 25, 26 different special illustration rares you can pull for just the Pokemon. And then you've got another 6 trainer special illustration rares. So tons of chases in this set. As far as bench quality, as in how deep is this set, I think that this is actually a very shallow set. I do not consider Pokeballs and Master Balls to really make up for not pulling a special illustration rare. I think it actually sucks. So I'm going to give this a 1. Literally, it is only chase cards. There's nothing else in this set that I would really want. I mean, you could actually even consider these hyper rares to be chases, because these are harder to pull than the special illustration rares. So, yeah, the Pokeballs and Master Balls do not make up for having only the special illustration rares or not pulling any special illustration rares. Personal feelings towards this set, it has so many really good cards that are just so hard to pull. I will give it a 3. I'll give it a 4. I will dock a point for what I consider to be terrible, like a terrible bench. But those chases are nuts. There's so many really good cards there. I will be fine giving it a 4, even though it really, really sucked ripping packs. Investment potential, it's a 5. That Umbreon has stayed expensive, even though it's not as expensive as it was when it first came out. I definitely see that Umbreon card getting more expensive in the future once Scarlet Violet era is done like printing. All right, Journey Together. All right, hit rates for Journey Together. Still pretty bad, 1 out of 86, and only 16% secret rare hit rate. So it is really low secret rare hit rates, as well as a really bad special illustration rare rate. So I'm going to give it a 1 on its pull rates. Value-wise, I'm going to get a 2, because it's just barely over $500 at $619. And then for chase cards, okay, so for its chases, the Lily's Clefairy is good, very cute. Not amazing though. I don't really like the Volcanion. Salamence is okay. The Zacian's good. Zoroark is good. And the Bellybolt is cute. Yeah, this one's good too. Nothing is what I would consider to be amazing or iconic to Scarlet Violet era though. I will give this 3. And then its bench quality, there's only 11 illustration rares, but I don't think any of them are bad. Like, I'm not a fan of this artwork, but I don't think this is bad. The Swinub probably to me is like the worst one, but I can see people liking this card too. Articuno is really good. The Wailord is very good too. I really like that Kilowattrel. It's very cute. Ribombee is a very beautiful card. Reshiram, I really like that one too. The Furret's good. Super cute. The Noibat I like a lot. I don't think it's as popular with everybody else, but I like it. The Wooloo's okay too. So I will give the bench a 3. Mainly penalizing the fact that there's just not that many of there's not that many illustration rares, but the ones that it does have are fairly good. Okay. Personal feeling towards the set. I like it. I think that a lot of people kind of write off the set, but I think it's... I mean, I like the set, but it's not a 4. Okay. So, investment potential, I'll just say it's a 2. I don't see any of those cards really taking off or anything. So that gives it a total of 14, which puts it in C, which is actually at the top of C. That I think is fair. Oh, and I forgot. Okay, so Surging Sparks. Whoops. Surging Sparks is a 20 that puts it at on the bottom end of A, but above Paldea Evolved, right? No, below. No, it's equal with... Okay, so that's fine. Equal to Paldea Evolved. That probably should change. And then Prismatic. I gave Prismatic a 24, which puts it in ST. Maybe 24 points is too generous. Maybe I need to bump that to 25, but we'll adjust later. Okay, Destined Rivals. Destined Rivals pull rates is literally the worst. Only a 16% hit rate for the secret rares, and 1 out of 94, literally the worst hit rates of all of Scarlet Violet era. So this is a 1. Value. This is a 4. It is very good. Chases. Moltres, Ho-Oh, Mewtwo, Garchomp, Nidoking. These 5, I think, are very good cards. With this one being a great card. Ho-Oh's a good card. Mewtwo. Not as good as it could have been, but still a good card. The Garchomp is amazing. I really like this card. It's one of my favorites in all the Scarlet Violet era. Nidoking is a good card. And not as popular with everybody else, but I really do like this Crobat as well. So, Chases, I'm going to give this a 4. Very strong, desirable card. For the special illustration rare supporters, I'm not super big on any of them. The Ariana kind of reminds me of like the Briar, so I don't really I mean, it's fine. It's a pretty card. But really, the Pokemon, it has a lot of really good ones. I mean, I'm almost tempted to give it a 5 because there's so many good ones. Okay, it's at... You know what? I think because... Okay, if I gave 151 a 4, I'm okay with giving Destined Rivals. Yeah. Not everything can deserve a 5. That's fine. Okay, bench quality. This set's pretty deep. There are a lot of really good illustration rares in this set. I'd say that this one has a pretty good bench. Personal feeling towards the set, it's a really good one too. I'm gonna say this is a 5. And investment potential, I think that this has a lot of investment potential. Okay, so that gives it a 22, which puts it solidly at an A, almost at the top, right behind... Interesting. Okay, so Paldean Fates... I feel like it should be above Paldean Fates, but that's okay for now. Okay, next up. You know what? Let's go back. I think if I am thinking about not only are the cards good, are there any iconic cards? Yeah, I'm gonna have to bump some scores here. Yeah, okay, we'll take care of that in a second. Let's finish up. Black and white. So the pull rates are gonna be the same. 1 out of 80 is pretty bad. And then they try to make up for it with Master Balls. But again... Okay, so fine, I'll give it a 2. Because the secret rare hit rate is a little bit better because of the Master Balls. I just don't agree that the Master Balls are hits. Value-wise, these are going to get 4s. They are very strong sets. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to give it a 5, tentatively. Because they are both above $3,000, which is crazy, because they just came out. I don't know if they're going to stay up there, though. Okay, chase cards. 6 special illustration rare Pokemon and 1 trainer. The Superior, I like. Reshiram, good. Zekrom, great to amazing. I really like this card. And then Ends Plan. Okay, whatever. The monochromatic cards, Victini is in both sets, so it's fine. The Victini is in both sets. It's a good card. But I really like this monochromatic Zekrom, the black Zekrom. This one looks amazing to me. I really like this card. So, for chases, I'm going to give this a 4. For bench quality. So how deep is this set? I think this is literally, like, I think these two are the deepest sets in Scarlet Violet era, obviously. There's so many illustration rares. They made at least illustration rares for every single one of the 156 in the Unova range. So, yes, a 5. Personal feeling towards the set, I think it's just a 3. There's not a whole lot of cards that I really, really want. There are good ones, but it's not like... It's not a fully amazing set. Even though there are a lot of illustration rares, I don't care enough to master this set. I do like that timber a lot too, actually. Okay, investment potential, I'll give it a 3 because it's getting carried by the monochromatics. I think those are the only thing that are... Those are the only cards that are driving up the values so much for the set. So that gives it a 22, which ties it with Destined Rivals. Okay, and then finally the white set. Pull rates are the same, so I already graded that. The chases, let's look at... Okay, so the chases for the white flare set. For Pokemon, the Reshiram is a beautiful card. I also really like the Hydreigon. The other ones are okay. With... Actually, this Bouffalant, I don't understand why it is a special illustration rare. I guess that kind of goes... I don't know why. Anyway, The Hilda, though, I think is a very good card. Very cute card. We've got the Pignite, the Unpheasant, and the Zebstrika in there too. So, but not really like a good special illustration rare. It's a good card. It's fine. The monochromatic Reshiram. Not as good as the Zekrom to me, even though it is still pretty good. So I'm gonna give. I will give this a 3. Bench quality, I'll go ahead and give it a 5. I think there are actually illustration rare wise, there's actually a little bit more that I like on the White Flare side than the Black Bolt side. Yeah, the full Litwick, Lampent, Chandelure line. These cards are very cute. The Oshawott, Duat, and the Samurott. Very good. Tepig, cute. The Pignite, okay. Embor is fine. Yeah, so I think there's a little bit more illustration rare-wise for me in this set than in the black set. Personal feelings towards the set, though, is still going to be a 3. Investment potential, still just a 3. So it puts it right behind at a 21. Okay, with the same as... Okay, so above Paldea Evolved. Okay, so let's evaluate here. Do I agree with my final list? Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm fine with this. So there it is. That's my tier list. 151 and Prismatic are S tier. Paldean Fates right behind it, almost S tier. Destined Rivals, very top of A for sure. Black Bolt, White Flare, pretty good. Paldea Evolved is the only one where I'm kind of questionable on. Surging Sparks, I think, is actually still A. And then everything else, I think, is fine. Twilight, Masquerade, Paradox Rift, Scarlet, Violet, Bees. Alright guys, that's my tier list. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my rankings. Like, comment, and subscribe on this video, and I'll see you next time. Take care.